I said, we're going to do a tar paper roof, then we're going to do a metal roof on top of that. That way I can manipulate the metal roof to make it look like, it's worn, torn, missing pieces maybe. I could just put, a piece of tar paper here and there where I know it's going to be exposed. I don't know where that's going to be at. So all I did was um, I took some black construction paper and I spray painted the front of it with a medium gray color. Then I took sandpaper and I sanded back to bring some of the black through. If you watch my three-story building build, I show that entire technique how I did that. So anyways, I got all the pieces here cut up, and this is approximate end scale width for a roll of tar paper. So all I'm going to do is just take some good old-fashioned Elmer's glue, spread it across. Probably just do one side at a time, and then just start laying these out. Okay, that's about it. When this dries, we're going to trim the end off. I'm going to let this dry before I do the other side. That way I don't mess this one up. And as soon as I get that done, we'll do the small roof, and then we will start on the metal roof. All right, metal roof making time. I'm going to show you how I take this. This is just tin foil that I cut into half-inch strips, which equates to about 13 feet in end scale. I know the standard for residential roofing, I think, is around 10 feet. But you can have the stuff custom ordered, and I'm imagining that an industry like Coal Tipple would probably custom order larger sheets to make the roofing go faster. So I took the liberty and I'm making these 13 feet wide in end scale. But as you can see, the 1 inch width fits great on my little grid here, so it's making it easier for me to cut these. So anyways, I'm going to show you how I take this flat, plain piece of tinfoil and turn it into this. Again, I'll reiterate many times, this may not be perfectly end scale. I'm making things that, well, actually, let me show you real quick. I made a tool to make this. This is the tool that I made. I designed this in Fusion 360 and I printed it on my FDM printer. Could I have gone a little bit smaller? I possibly could have. I did attempt to make one that was actually truly end scale, and the FDM printer just could not make these ridges accurately enough to satisfy me. So this is about as close as they're going to get. It's a little bit smaller, I think, than HO, but it's definitely a little bit bigger than end scale. But most people aren't going to know the difference. Um, and it's going to look good, so that's all that matters. So, anyways, take this little tool here I made. Take your tin foil. You want to get it kind of straight. So you want it to be nice and straight. Get her started, and just like that, just roll it through. And there we have it. Now all I'm going to do is once I get a bunch of these made up, I'm going to take them as full strips like this, and I'm going to give them a paint of. I do believe I'm going to go with a medium to light gray color, kind of like what do they call that type of metal? It slips my mind, anyways. I'm sure if you've been around roofs, you know what I'm talking. Galvanized, thank you. Galvanized metal roof. I paint them all that color, then I will cut them into the actual widths for the roof. So let me get busy getting these made up, and when I get back, this will be all painted and ready to go. All right, it's time to start the roof and get this thing finished up. Over here to the left, I don't know if you can can see too well. Let me zoom out real quick here. I got all my little roofing pieces. Here are the strips that I ran through that corrugated roller that I made. Now, granted, these are not N scale, so don't think it's some kind of magic here. My FDM printer does have limitations, but as I think I've mentioned already before, I don't know if anybody's even going to notice. I don't care. It's going to look good. It's all that matters to me. Anyways, I cut a bunch of them up into these little pieces, and these are approximately, let me get my scale ruler here. These are approximately 13 feet by 5 feet sheets in N scale. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit here. Now, here's the roof, and as you can see, right here, here, little pencil marks. And what I did is I just took a measurement to get the overlapping that I want for this roofing material. Now, originally, I was going to try to weather all these individual pieces by themselves. Um, if any of you, excuse me, subscribe to Jason Jensen's trains, he had did a really great video over weathering tin roofing, and of course he was doing HO scale, and his weathering techniques are just superb, actually. But he was able to do them one piece at a time. He wasn't covering as big of a roof as I am. This would be a nightmare to try to do all these individually. I don't know if I have enough cut up or if I have too many cut ups. But anyways, I figured I'm going to put them on first. Then it's just going to weather them in place, and that might actually help with the overall pattern of the weathering. So I'm gonna get my super glue out and let's get started on this. There's the first row put on. Now I do know how to actually put a roof on. Normally you would go across and then work your way up, but these are cut by hand, so they're not all perfectly straight. They're not all perfectly the same width. So I wanted to run them up in a vertical fashion. That way I can do a little bit overlapping here and there to try to keep these rows as straight as possible. Again, I am going to make this look like it's a kind of an old beat up roof, but it wasn't at one point in time. So we're going to continue on with this roofing. All right, guys. Now there's 3 rows put on, and as you can see, you know, paint does not stick to foil wrap super well, but it only is going to add in the patina of the roof. I'm going to stop the video here. I'm going to finish putting this roof on. There's no reason to watch me do the entire thing. And once we get the roofing material put on, we'll start weathering. All right, we are back. And as you can see in front of you, the roof is on. It is, I do believe I counted 256 individual hand rolled, hand cut, and hand painted roof sections, tiles, steel sheetings, whatever you want to call them. It looks pretty good, in my opinion, as of right now. However, seeing as how we are looking to create that bit of a neglected, rundown look, and the fact that the roofing material is supposed to be metal, we are going to start rusting it. Then that will be our next and final step in this build. Um, let me zoom out here and show you what we got going on with the colors. We are going to be using raw sienna, burnt sienna, burnt umber, and some yellow ochre to do this. And we are going to use dum, 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 a sponge. No, not this big sponge. Actually, normally you would weather these individually before you even put them on. But like I had mentioned, I think I had mentioned before I started this, I knew it was going to be way too many individual pieces to try to weather them all at one, individually. It would drive any person insane. So put them on first. We're going to weather them on here. Now, when we go to weather these, you're going to want to try to keep the weathering, on a lower portion of each one of these. Some are going to want to be heavier, of course, and some lighter. And how I am going to designate which ones are going to be heavier, excuse my inability to use the English language, and which ones are going to be lighter. The ones that did not get as much gray paint on them, these ones here, I'm going to do a heavier rusting, simply because in my mind, in the real world, the actual protective paint that was put on these is worn off, and therefore they are more susceptible to rust. See, like this one here is relatively dark, so that one won't have as much on it. All right, here we go. Oh, I decided to forego the use of the forceps. It was a little weird feeling, so we're just going to use the fingers. Anyhow, like I said, I tore a very small piece. I'm going to pinch it to my fingers, make it even smaller. And we're going to start with the raw sienna and just dab a little bit in there. And you're going to dab almost all of it off. You can even, like, I got a paper towel over here. And we're just going to start right on the edges here. Just start dabbing a little bit. Some get more than others. Okay, got a new clean little piece of sponge. And we're up to the next layer, which is going to be the burnt sienna, and it's the same process. So here we go. And next we are going to use the burnt umber. Again, we're just going to go over what we've already done. And let me mention one thing. When you are going over these, for me, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to kind of follow the pattern that I'm doing with each individual one. So if I have a darker roof sheathing like this one here, I don't have very much rust on it. I'm not going to add a lot to it, but like these ones here that I have quite a bit of rust, I'm going to add, again, much more to it. So just kind of, you started a pattern with your very first layer of paint. So kind of, follow that pattern as you go. So here we go with the burr number. Well, we've got three different layers on. We are going to start our final layer. So we are on the home stretch. The next one is going to be the yellow ochre. However, I'm not going to put on the yellow ochre straight. I am probably going to mix it with a little bit of the burnt sienna, or maybe even some of the burnt umber, or actually even some of the raw sienna. Give me some different, more of an orangey color than the actual yellow color. So get some more of that out here and get some of this out there and see what we got going on. All right, folks. After many, many weeks, it's finished. This is by far one of the largest models I have ever designed and printed, and it is done. I am happy and yet sad. It turned out really well, I think. And keep in mind, like I said, this is a 3D printed item. Nothing from a model kit. This is all just out of my head and onto a computer and off a 3D printer. Hey, look, we've even got an N scale guy going to work today. At least somebody's going to work, huh? This is it. Here's the back side of it. Oh, look, there's even a guy on the catwalk down there waiting for the locomotives to come in. All right, let's get a different view of this. And here is your finished roof for this project. I'm very happy how this roof turned out. Now, folks, appreciate you spending your time with me. I'll be getting another video out here pretty soon. I think the next video that I'm going to be doing is going to be showing how I actually create one of these models in on the computer. I've been getting a lot of questions about that. But in the meantime, subscribe if you don't mind, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up and tap that bell icon. Especially give me that thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. That helps the YouTube analytics push my videos to the top so more and more people can see them. It means I get to reach more people and share my passion of modeling and 3D railroading and 3D printing and just my hobby. So again, thanks for spending your time with me. Take care. I'll see you next time.